Welcome to the Silicon Slopes podcast. I'm here with David Hills, who is the CEO of ShopSite. How are you, David?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Thanks for joining. Let's just jump right in. What is ShopSite?
So ShopSite's e-commerce software, shopping cart software. As soon as you hit that order button, that's us. For many businesses, handling the, talking to the payment gateways, talking to UPS, getting the real-time quotes, all that kind of stuff. That's what we do.
Got it. You make it sound simple, but there's a lot of moving parts there, and it's evolved over the last 15, 20 years, I would imagine, with security and
for sure,
all of that. So essentially, you buy a pair of shoes or a dress or a surfboard, really whatever. Nobody really worries about it once they press that click button, but that's where you guys come in and handle that.
Yeah, exactly. You can add order buttons to an existing website, or you can generate your website with our product.
Got it. And what types of customers utilize your product?
The merchants, it runs the whole gamut, from just, small little merchants selling their book, right, to bigger retail stores that, do millions of dollars in volume. We have different flavors of our product, a starter, a manager, a pro, an enterprise. So it scales up as your business grows.
Got it. And the founding story, you guys are not like a 2-month-old startup, right?
No, we're not.
There's some history.
Yeah, there's history. So like back in 95, I was not involved at that point, young entrepreneurs got together, and there really was like marketing is what they did. And then they were trying to help people sell goods on the web. And so they hired a couple of people, students really, to start building a cart for them. And that's where it kind of began. And, it's evolved and changed since then, how that turned out. I joined about a year after. I'd worked at Novell for 11 years and left around 96. And I had a friend, an angel investor, was like, hey, I might invest in these guys. I don't know anything about this. You know tech, come look. And so I went and looked at it. I go, hey, this could work. And, gave them what I thought. And at the same time, they kind of liked me, and they go, hey, we need some experience. Would you come at that time manage engineering for us? And so that's when I joined them back then. And it was fun. It's the heyday of internet, right? Stuff's crazy back then, the whole pets.com and stuff. And a couple of years later, we get bought, a company in Boston. And that was fun. It was great. And then, a few years later, the internet blows up, and they're changing what they're doing, and they're trying to sell us. And they had a buyer, but for some reason it didn't happen. And the employees were all like, hey, they were just going to shut us down. Like, we'll take it.
Yeah.
We'll take the business.
Sure.
It's a good business. Maybe not for you guys because you're so huge, but and so we did. So it's an employee-owned business since then. So that was like 2001. So as ShopSite Inc., that's the company name, since 2001.
Wow. Yeah. So 20 years plus on that adventure.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it's a good story because it shows that there was startups and angel investments happening in Utah, and Novell and the offspring of that were obviously a big part of it. And then you're basically just going to be discarded and thrown in the rubbish heap, and said, never mind, we'll take it.
I just didn't understand that at all. At the time, they go, well, we don't think that company's going to make it. And it's like, I don't know what they care, right? But maybe they were getting stock or something.
Yeah.
It was one of our competitors, and it's like, okay, and then what's next? And then they didn't find another buyer, and then it was like, we're going to discard you.
Got it. And then ultimately they just gave you the keys back. And
yeah. We certainly gave them stock in us to do that. And but yeah.
Cool. So then it was you were with a bigger group, and now you're back with a smaller group, and you versus the world.
Yeah.
Start from that point. How did you guys kind of start to build the product and monetize it and all of that, right? Because there was some whiplash in the early 2000s and a lot of burnt fingers and hesitancy. So how did you guys proceed?
Yeah, that was not the best time to start up a company, and that was tough times. They originally got us the front end, their big e-commerce engine. They didn't have a good UI for it, and we had that. And then so they managed the big company, support, sales, that's all them. And we were just really engineering group. And then we took it over, and then we kind of find out, they didn't manage the support very well. And our partners, some of them weren't happy with us.
Yeah.
And they were like in the penalty box, basically, until we could prove that we could do it. So there's a lot of that, all little companies, right? They give their customers good support. That's what they do. They're so close to the customer.
Yeah.
They're going to do that. So that's what we did. And we also had the philosophy of, look, however you want to buy the product, we'll sell the product. Yes, reoccurring revenue is good. If you lease it monthly, that's wonderful. And we do that. And that's what the parent company did. And they wouldn't sell it like one time or, with upgrades or anything. It's just, this is it. You do it this way or we don't care.
Got it.
And so we were like, no, we'll do it. Any way you want to give us money, we'll work out a way to make that work. So you do all those kind of things as a small company and just kind of, hang on.
Yeah. And, in that time period, it was pretty new to everyone, right? Even the sophisticated, bigger enterprises, let alone like a good retailer.
Mm-hmm.
And so is it accurate to say that everyone was kind of learning as an industry as they went along of how to sell this? And
for sure. Yeah. It's amazing how it's evolved since then. And it's also kind of like, but it's always been, here's an order button that you click on. And, from physical goods to then digital goods to the whole, the shipper is actually letting you hook in, giving you APIs, right? That had to be developed because it wasn't geared for us to do it, independently. And of course, a whole lot of payment methods, right, evolved, right?
Yep.
PayPal being one of the big ones you could think of. That all that kind of stuff kind of grew out of this industry. So it's a lot smoother operating now than it was back then. But the concept is still the same.
Yeah. Eventually, you've got to press a button and confirm it.
Yeah.
Looking back, because you've got a bird's eye view of the whole thing, if you had to say like that was crazy as an industry or as a company that's the way we did it for whether it was like 2 months or 2 years, what would be one that stands out?
Crazy. I don't know about crazy. What's been interesting, so our model early on, since we were a small company and back then, internet service providers, they were where you went to host your store, right?
Yeah.
Amazon just sold books.
Yep.
you didn't use them. So our model was our product would be hosted at these other sites, GoDaddy. Locally, it was Verio, Xmission, and others. And that was a good model for us. And we didn't have this idea of software as a service.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it kind of was, but that's you, the company, providing all that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it's evolved now. That certainly Amazon is that, right? That's your example of everything's there, software as a service type thing. And so I don't know if that's crazy, but that's how it's changed, that whole model of how you do things.
Yeah. And then, today it's Bitcoin and there's a lot more ways to pay for stuff than
that is true.
Last year or 10 years ago. So I said this on several occasions on this podcast. I want no part of shipping and logistics, right? I'd rather dig ditches than try to figure out all of that. So you've got the big ones, the United States Postal Service, FedEx, and UPS. So if you want to ship stuff to your customer through that, you mentioned like API plugin, but at some point they need to connect to you guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And is that easier now than it used to be, or is it still?
Well, it is easy. Like, so if you as a person wanted to ship, right, you could go to their website and you key in your, hey, this is the weight, right, or here's the dimensions and here's the rates. Well, we do all that automatically now for you, behind the scenes. So yeah, it's quite seamless, right? They'll provide their APIs and let you do that, and they all every January change their rates. Yep. Although the USPS, they're changing their rates, next month through the holidays? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's usually going up, right?
Oh, it's always going up. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure somebody will disrupt that at some point, right? But that'll be the next version. So for a merchant in Middle America, one of your clients, customers,
mm-hmm.
They've got a lot to deal with. Mm-hmm. And your service is making it easier for them to sell and distribute things. And it sounds like they have to click less than they would have maybe 10 years ago. You're making your system and processes better for them as it evolves. Is that correct?
Yeah. And you, it is simpler, and it's more like, hey, get it set up initially, right? Initially configured, whether it's this shipper that you're using or this payment gateway. And then you don't have to worry so much about it. It works, right? Generally, it works with no problem. Sometimes there's hiccups you have to go look at.
Yeah.
And then you also got third parties that add their own tools to improve shipping, right? So they could like download our orders into some other third party program, and if the bigger guys will do that, right? Because their company's so big and they got so many things going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all interconnected.
Yeah.
People are always innovating.
I can imagine. I don't shop very much online, but there has been attempts recently where it's like out of order, right? Or coming soon or something like that. So I think, for the bigger sophisticated ones, they manage inventory better, but for maybe the middle part and the smaller companies, that's an issue sometimes, right?
Well, it's definitely an issue now because of post-COVID and a number of things, right? The whole shipping bottlenecks, the whole port bottlenecks, the whole, hey, everyone shut down. And then all of a sudden demand kicked up.
Yeah.
We didn't expect that. And so that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I read articles that, Costco's buying their own shipping containers now and making their own contracts to do stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I don't want any part of logistics and shipping. So who are some of your competitors?
Well, I mentioned like Amazon certainly is a competitor, with everybody basically.
Yeah.
And then as a software as a service, that would be like Shopify. You might have heard of them.
Yep.
They're a public company. And there's a bunch of us e-commerce people, even people, I'm sure you've had people on here that, they're like in a certain niche. It's like, oh, we do the, whatever, the little hobby craft stores or something like that. So those are your typical ones.
Got it. And as far as competition with, you being the CEO, you've got to wear many hats. Do you iterate product design based on competition? How worried are you about competition?
Well, yeah, you always worried about competition, for sure. Generally, so we're a smaller company, and so you get a little more personal service, I would say, but we're also not forced that profit or large margin. We're not forced for that, right?
Yeah.
So if you go to Amazon, right, they're taking a piece of your sale. If they want your product found on Amazon, you got to pay to be at the top of the list.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of nibbling that's going on there that's going to cost you. And but Amazon has lots of eyeballs, and so
Yeah.
for some part of your product, maybe it makes sense to be there. People like Shopify, they also will take a piece of every transaction, and we don't do that. Okay. They also have their own, payment gateway, or they OEM somebody's,
Yeah.
and it's like, use this. Well, we support others, but if you don't use this, we're going to charge you more for using something else.
Yeah.
And so we try. So we're competitively, if you care about your margins, we're a good option for that. And then of course, you do look at what they're offering. You also look at what your customers are asking about, and so you add features like that.
Yeah. The nickel and diming could add up.
Oh yeah, it adds up significantly. Yeah.
And you just mentioned like customer feedback. How does that play into your guys' product?
Yeah. Again, little guys, they hear from the customer directly. We have merchants we'll deal with directly. Our model is, historically was the ISPs. So we still allow you to host wherever you want. If you want to have your store at GoDaddy, and hey, they're pretty inexpensive.
Yeah.
You can do that. And so through some of our partners, we're going to hear through them. And we have some I should say hosting companies, that's their specialty is e-commerce. They want to focus on that. And they're really good at giving us feedback and telling us what to do. At the same time, you're looking at the industry and seeing what's going on. Back when we had, seems like a long time now, but like the whole mobile thing, right? Early on, it wasn't quite clear. How do you design for mobile? Do you make a separate website or everything? But now it's like, no, it's all one website.
Yeah.
But it's called responsive design, and so we do that. We key that up. We look at that, and we try to help our merchants do that.
Yeah. There's probably a lot of folks similar to me that wish that had never been invented, because my wife can buy a lot of stuff from a little screen.
It makes it easy, doesn't it?
Yeah. Very easy. Okay. So you've mentioned, still kind of on the smaller end of company size, but you've got a lot of experience under the belt. As CEO, you don't want to run out of money. You want to have a good company culture, all sorts of things, right?
Yep.
But you also might need to think about next phase, exit,
right.
IPO, whatever it is. What are some of your thoughts in and around that?
Well, yes, you have to look at that. We're certainly not opposed to, if someone was interested in like merging with us or doing something like that. We're happy to keep growing and doing what we do. We are like employee owned. The employees own this company, and so we're happy making that happen. But you can't ignore if the right opportunity came along. Now, the right opportunity would have to be something that made sense synergistically.
Yeah.
Right. I get somebody every week or two like, we want to invest. But you're not offering anything. Some money, but like this month, Intuit, right? It's going to buy MailChimp for billions of dollars.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. They're both deal with businesses.
Yeah.
And MailChimp started as email marketing, and they do all kinds of marketing now for businesses.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that would make sense, right? Where, oh yeah, you need your e-commerce, you need a shopping cart, right? Or, you're in the payment business, and as I know, like Amazon has their own payment, you're never going to get that.
Yeah.
Shopify, they OEM their own payment, you're never going to get that. If you want a cart that supports you even better, you might need to do so. Anyways, there's options there that could happen. I'm not saying we're looking to do that, but you just got to be aware of stuff like that.
Yeah. So it's basically kind of like anything in life, a good relationship and
right.
good expectations.
Yeah.
Make it better and more feasible.
Yeah. But, we survived these 25 years, crazy, and we're okay doing that.
Yeah. And what are some of the things in your product that kind of distinguish you guys amongst these competitors?
Feature-wise, it's probably not going to be anything overly distinguishing there because we all kind of do the things.
Yeah.
It's going to be the stuff, like I said, like you don't get these extra fees, or you can host where you want, right?
Yeah.
You can use whatever, you can use your own server, right? Or your own cloud that you're leasing to do that. And you're not tied to whatever Amazon or whatever says they're going to do to you.
Got it.
So I think that's more the differentiators that you'll see, because we're all going to want mobile to be good, right? We're all going to work somehow with whatever the most popular payment method is. We're all going to integrate with USPS and FedEx and and things like that.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's a lot. I've had this probably a long time. It works. It's good. It's got so many man years of coding in it. It's just reliable.
Yeah. So a little bit more flexibility, better margins. So if you see data, a lot of it, I would assume, if you had to operate one type of shop and sell one type of thing, what would you feel most comfortable with?
Well, I can tell you. Let me talk about COVID real quick.
Yeah.
I can tell you. Here's what didn't work when 20 came around. If you were in events, any kind of event, of course, they all got shut down, right?
Yeah.
And so for that year, we had merchants that they did soccer camps, they did ski trips or what have you, and that didn't work. And then so understood that.
Yeah.
And then surprisingly, maybe not now, but furniture, lawn furniture, any kind of furniture. That was crazy. That took off. And outdoor stuff for sure.
Yeah.
Right. As we know, bikes and anything, outdoor equipment, tents, hiking, all took off. And you look back now, sure. That's all you could do.
Sure.
Right. So beyond that, I'm just saying you have to find something, I would say, more unique, right? You can't just resell like you did before something that somebody else makes.
Yeah.
Because everyone will do it.
Yep.
Right? It will be on Amazon, and how are you going to distinguish yourself? Only by low cost, if you could do that.
Yeah.
So it's more like get that unique, whatever it is, design, product. If it's a physical good, do that. If you got digital content, we sell digital content too. If you have that, that's unique.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, being a merchant, probably from the dawn of man, has always been cutthroat.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you and your team have a great appreciation for the challenges that they have. And it's always good if they can streamline the back end, in this case, e-commerce. Because it's kind of a crowded world, and there's a lot of people selling a lot of stuff.
I mean, if you have a retail shop, you really should be online too, right? And maybe that's what they do. It's like, they got this location, so hey, they freeze out the competition there.
Yeah.
And then they just supplement it with online stuff.
Yeah.
But if you want a pure online play, good to have something unique.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this has been very insightful. I enjoy hearing, it's not that long ago, 20 years, but it's always fun to talk with entrepreneurs that have seen the whole cycle several times over and are still having fun and enjoying being entrepreneurs and building new products. So thank you so much for taking the time to join today. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Garrett. Appreciate it.
You bet.